What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the finale of the real GP for Zulrah. And in this video, I'm going to be comparing all four gear setups that I tested for you guys, and we're going to put them side by side and see exactly which one might be best for you to use. So as a little bit of background information before we get going, what I did here was I took four different gear setups that are pretty popular and can be used for different things and different reasons, and I tested them out for 250 kills each to get a good idea of exactly what kind of profit you can see per kill and per hour for Zulrah. Now there are going to be different reasons that you're going to want to use these gear setups, and I'll go through those reasons as we get to each different gear setup. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get going into the first gear setup. So for this first one that I chose, I went with the Serpentine Helm, which does protect you from venom always, and I went with Aram's robe top and bottom, as well as the Blessed Dragon Hide. Now the reason that you might want to be using this setup here is it's actually really good to learn with this setup. Because the Serpentine Helm helps you avoid being venomed, it's one less thing you have to focus on while you're actually learning Zulrah. So there is a lot going on when you're doing Zulrah, so you want to try to be able to focus on basically the mechanics, your gear switches, and attacking when you need to as much as you possibly can, and eliminating that anti-venom is a good place to start. So I am going to be going from lowest profit per hour to highest profit per hour for these gear setups. So this one is the lowest. Now the reason that it's the lowest is because using the Serpentine Helm does require the Zulrah scales, and those are a little bit more expensive than actually using anti-venoms. But like I said, it's a lot easier to learn this way when you have one less thing to focus on. So as for this style, I ended up averaging a kill time of about 2 minutes and 6 seconds, and between kills took me 12 seconds, so about 2 minutes and 18 seconds per kill. I got 4 kills per trip with this setup, which gave me about 24 kills per hour and a total time of 10.4 hours. As for my gross value in items, I ended up with 34,030,675 GP. For my supply costs, they were pretty high because with the Serpentine Helm, you don't have as much magic attack bonus and range attack bonus, so it does cause you to use some more supplies. My supply cost ended up being 8,682,158 GP, which gave me a total profit of 25,348,517 GP. Now, this all averaged out ended up profiting me 101,000 GP per kill and 2.43 million GP per hour. Coming in the second lowest is going to be the Elite Void setup. Now when I did this, I wanted to use the cheapest gear I possibly could, and Elite Void is free except for a little bit of time you have to spend at pest control and doing some diaries to actually get it. But I also went with Mystic Boots and regular Rings of Recoil for this because it does save a lot of money and you don't have that high overhead cost. Now the reason you might want to be using this setup is maybe you've lost your bank, maybe you are just starting out Zulrah, maybe you don't have much of a bank to get started, but this setup will certainly work. Now as for average kill time, it was 2 minutes and 2 seconds plus the 12 seconds, which gave me a total kill time of 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Now because I wasn't using the Serpentine helmet, my defense was a little bit lower, so I ended up taking a lot more damage. Now there is an upside to this. I did get 3 kills per trip, but because I had less kills per trip, I was able to use my house and use the restoration pool and restore my stats, so I ended up using less supplies in that respect. As for the gross value of this, I ended up getting really lucky with uniques. I ended up with 4, and 2 of those being Tanzanite Fangs, which are the most expensive. My gross value ended up being 45,424,552 GP. Now the supply cost was a little bit less because of what I just said. I was using my house a lot more. I used less food, less potions, yada yada. My supply costs ended up being 7,537,944 GP, giving me a total profit of 37,886,608 GP. Now my profit per kill was 151,546 GP, but again I had 4 uniques with these 250 kills, and my profit per hour ended up being 3.63 million GP per hour, which that can honestly happen to you too, but from a more realistic standpoint, let's go ahead and eliminate a Tanzanite Fang and one of the other uniques. So that actually drops my profit down to a more realistic number of about 2.65 million GP per hour. Like I said, if you get lucky, you can see much more than that. But as from a realistic standpoint, we're going to go with 2.65 mil per hour. Coming in at the number 2 spot is going to be my Twisted Bow setup. Now, for the Twisted Bow, I still did end up going with the Ring of Suffering and the Serpentine Helm because it does make it a little bit easier. And let's face it, you're Twisted Bow, so you're trying to do it easy mode anyways, so why not eliminate as much of a headache as you possibly can? But I did go with the Blessed Dragonhide set here, and my reasoning behind this was because some people, and by some people I actually mean a lot of people, end up dumping their bank as soon as they get enough money for a Twisted Bow. But what I say here is make sure you have an extra 20 to 25 mil after you can get the Twisted Bow, just so you can buy some gear to get rebuilding. And Zulrah is great for that because between the Ring of Suffering and the Serpentine Helm and some supplies, you probably only need between 17 and 20 mil to get yourself back on your feet. Now, as for this, my average kill time ended up being 2 minutes and 3 seconds plus the 12 seconds, giving me a total average kill time of 2 minutes and 15 seconds. And I ended up averaging 5 kills per trip and 25 kills per hour. As for my loot, gross value ended up being 33,330,154 GP with a very low supply cost of 4,200,040 GP, giving me a total profit of 29,130,114 GP. Now those numbers are a lot lower, especially as for the supply cost, because I'm not using a ton of Trident casts, and that's really what made up the supply cost there. As for my profit per kill, it ended up being 116,520 GP, giving me a total profit per hour of 2.95 million GP. And last but not least, in the number 1 spot is going to be my Ancestral Hat and Imbued Heart setup. Now, as for this, I have said this before in the video dedicated only to this style, you have to spend money in this game to make money. The higher your DPS is, the more damage you're going to put down, and the more money and profit you're going to make because you're not spending as much in supplies. You could go from using, let's say, 25 Trident casts on a kill down to maybe like 19 or something because of that extra damage. Now this setup is pretty expensive, and I'd say it's more used for people that are established in the game. They have a decent amount of money and a decent bank, so they can afford this thing. But I would say don't break the bank trying to afford this. Work your way up to it. But once you get here, this could be used to kind of complete your best in slot setups. You can go for the Ancestral from here, the Bandos, or the Armadillo if you don't have it. As for this, my kill times were vastly improved. 1 minute and 51 seconds as an average kill time. Again, between kills, 12 seconds, giving me an average total kill time of 1 minute and 53 seconds. Now, I only did 3 kills per trip with this because in this respect, when I used the Imbued Heart, I could get 3 kills in, pick up the loot, and return and bank, and by the time I returned to start the next trip, my Imbued Heart was ready to go again. I ended up getting 27 kills per hour with this setup, giving me a gross value of 35,585,071 GP. Now, because of that extra DPS, it decreased my supply cost quite a bit, and I ended up only spending 6,761,825 GP, giving me a total profit of 28,913,246 GP. Now, as far as the other setups, the profit per kill was pretty much right there with the Twisted Bow setup, which was 115,652 GP compared to the Twisted Bow, which was 116,520. So it was right there as terms of profit per kill. My profit per hour ended up being 3.12 million GP, and that is even better than I had with the Twisted Bow. Now, if you were using Armadillo and full Ancestral with this setup over just Armadillo with the Twisted Bow, you probably would still end up making more money with this setup just because of its more consistent mage hits, and you only have to use range on the magic phase. So just as a quick recap before we get going with the rest of the video, the number 4 spot is going to be taken by the Arams and Blessed Hide with the Serpentine Helmet at 2.43 million GP profit per hour. The number 2 spot is going to be taken by the Elite Void setup with Mystic Boots and God D'hide Boots and regular Rings of Recoil, this profit being 2.65 million GP per hour. The number 2 spot is going to be taken by the Twisted Bow with a Serpentine Helm and Blessed D'hide at 2.95 million GP profit per hour. And last but not least, the number 1 spot is going to be taken by using the Ancestral Hat and the Imbued Heart at 3.12 million GP profit per hour. Now, I know you guys are wondering, how much did you make in total? What kind of supplies did you use? What was your profit? Well, lucky for you guys, I kept track of all of that and did a little extra math, which I will show you at the end of the video. Now, as for supplies used, we'll go ahead and get into that first. 18,824 Trident casts that I used. That was the Trident of the Swamp. 14,290 Zulrah scales in the Serpentine Helmet, 1,602 Amethyst arrows with the Twisted Bow, 10,965 Blowpipe scales, 3,372 Adamant darts, and the equivalent charges of 359 Rings of Recoil. As for the consumables, 87 anti-venom pluses, 377 prayer potions. Yes, I know I read those out of order, but whatever. 98 bastion potions, 4,393 sharks, 328 carambons, and 147 anglerfish, bringing me to a total supply cost of 27,467,580 GP. And onto the juiciest of loot screenshots. This is so beautiful to look at, and I am so sad that I will eventually have to sell it. But anyways, 220,297 Zulrah scales at 185 GP each, giving me a gross value there of 40,754,945 GP. As for the uniques, I did end up with 8 total uniques, which actually was right on the money for how many uniques I should have gotten while doing 1,000 kills. 4 Magic Fangs, 3 Tanzanite Fangs, and 1 Serpentine Visage. Unfortunately, I didn't hit any Onyx drops, but I guess that's okay because that actually is the lowest on the unique drop table. As far as everything else, 13 Dragon Halberds for 2 million GP there. 17,090 Law Runes, 4.8 mil, 24,600 Death Runes, 7.1 mil, 41,500 Chaos Runes for 4.2 mil. The Torstal stack was very nice at 190 Torstals, 2.1 mil there. Rune ores were pretty plentiful, 1.6 mil stack of that, 13,000 coal for 3.2 mil, 27 magic seeds for 4.47 million, 860 battle staffs for 7.1 million, 12,750 grapes, which actually surprised me at 2.6 million. There is 280 crushed nests in there, but those were unfortunately taken off the table about halfway through these videos. 3,850 manta rays for 4.3 million, and the rest of the stuff is smaller stacks. Oh, Addy bars, 2.449 million. But yeah, like I said, the rest of the stuff is just rare drop table loot, and unfortunately there's a dragon left half of shield in there, which is pretty much rare enough. It could have been another Zulrah unique, but it's okay. As for the gross value, 146,078,331 GP. I had a brain fart there, so I stopped reading for a second. Supply costs ended up being 27,467,580 GP. Total profit made 118,610,751 GP. So it was a pretty nice payday for all the time I ended up spending here. As for the total time, I spent just a little bit over 40 hours of playtime doing these 1,000 kills. My average kill throughout all of the styles was 2 minutes 24 seconds, and I averaged 25 kills per hour. As for the gross value per kill, 146,078 GP. Profit per kill, 118,610 GP, and that is a little inaccurate because of the different styles I used. As for my personal profit per hour throughout the 1,000 kills, 2,965,268 GP. Now, like I said, guys, I did actually do a little bit more math for all of you just to see some other little cool statistics. Now, I know this might be hard to see if you're watching on mobile, so I am going to link a Google Doc in the description below so you can check it out. But what I did here was I actually took every drop that I got and averaged out how many of those per kill that I ended up getting to give me a more accurate average gross value of a drop. So as you can see here up at the Zulrah scales, now you can get 100 to 300 of these per kill, but my average ended up being 220. So I'm not really sure if that's actually weighted a little bit higher towards the 300 side rather than the 100. But yeah, 220 was my average Zulrah scales drop per kill for an average value per kill of 40,314 GP. And if you want to scroll through here, you can actually check out some other things like Chaos Runes. I averaged 41.5 per kill, Death Runes 24.6, and a little bit lower, I ended up averaging 3.05 Mahogany logs per kill. But yeah, like I said, it was just some cool math, and you can actually also check out each individual part of the video, which has each one of how much I got throughout the video. So every drop here is listed, even the rare drop tables, which I did not actually average into the average drop because the rare drop table is not something that's guaranteed. It's just kind of a chance. So I went with Zulrah's normal drop table and what you could get from there. Well guys, that is going to wrap up this real GP per hour of Zulrah. I really hope you guys have enjoyed this little mini series. I had a blast making it and figuring out all the statistics that could actually bring you guys some help. So I really hope that this video can help you decide how you want to go about doing Zulrah and maybe set some goals for yourself, try to make some money and get that ancestral armor set that you are looking for. If you like this video, please leave a thumbs up down below. They really help the video's popularity spread around. If you have not done so yet, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button on your way out. All of your subscriptions mean a ton to me. And thank you to my current Patreons. And if you would like to become a patron to my Patreon page, you can check out the description below. The Patreon helps support my channel. With that, guys, I will see you guys on the next Real GP per hour video. Take it easy, everybody.